morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in the world. Welcome to Platform Analytics Academy. On today, real quickly, I'm just going to go over some logistical information and we're going to get directly into the content for today. So real quickly, as always, this is for you, trying to bring you fresh ideas, better understanding, and practical guidance. So please get out of this as much as you possibly can. This is being recorded. It will be out on our community event page later on this afternoon and also out on our YouTube channels. If recording is an issue with your organization, just take note of that and make whatever arrangements you have to. Please use the Q&A. Ask as many questions as you would like. We do have other panelists on outside of the presenter that can answer questions as we move along. If it's relevant to where we are in the content and we feel as though it's better to just ask that question to the presenter, we will do that. But again, ask away, and we'll answer at the end when we get to the Q&A section. Of course, we'll answer all the questions related to the content first, but if there are any other questions that we can get to within the hour, we'll definitely get to those as well. So my name is Thomas Davis, and I am the host. Today, we're going to have our own Tara Fisher, who's going to be the presenter, and we have Dan and Adam as well, who are on here, like I said, to not only contribute, but also to answer questions wherever they can. So today we're going to talk about how to gain first value with performance analytics. And this is something that's near and dear to Tara. So she's going to present this today. So Tara, whenever you're ready, you can take over sharing and we can get started.
You got it. Let me do that. Hello, everybody. I know quite a bit of you. Some of you are new to me. Thank you for taking time out of your day to talk with us. This might be kind of repetitive for some of you, but I realize that people become familiar with performance analytics over time. And so hopefully this is all new and exciting information for you. I did have a couple ideas when I was going through this deck, so I made a couple tweaks. You are the first ones that are actually seeing this after me and my team worked on making changes. So bear with us as we kind of work through it, and hopefully this makes sense to y'all. And then also had another idea towards the end of this. I'll talk about maybe if there's interest, we can talk about maybe building a dashboard together. That came to me after I was working on this deck. So what we're going to quickly cover is what the purpose of performance analytics is. We do have a design strategy for PA and reporting. It is important to understand the reason why the tool was developed and what the intended usage is, because it can often be confused. So we're going to spend quite a bit of time on that piece of it. We're also going to talk about who the right team is, who the right people are to have in the room to make this successful for you. Some housekeeping stuff, some data governance guidance, how to organize your content best. We'll just kind of touch on those things and then briefly go over the KPI composer. So what is the purpose of performance analytics, right? Vision is the art of seeing what is invisible to others. So basically, this is one of my favorite quotes from Jonathan Swift, but basically, right, we want to share the vision that everyone has, get everyone on the same page. We want to improve our processes, right? That's the intended usage and reason why you invested in ServiceNow, and optimize our processes. And we can't do that unless we have a good way of measuring ourselves. And understanding the proper analytics and how to measure yourself is critical. And that's where performance analytics comes in. Performance analytics is a performance management solution. I'm going to click again so I can iterate this 100 more times. Performance analytics is not a BI tool. The intended usage for performance analytics is to understand you made an investment in ServiceNow. You want to optimize your processes. You want to make improvements in your workflow. You need to understand where there's breakdowns, where you're inefficient, how you can better leverage the tool to make you more successful, right? Is there an area for me to improve my automation? Do I have, 50% automation in one of my workflows, too many tasks that are going out that require emails or someone going to read a knowledge article, or are there any areas where I can move towards 100% automation, 90% automation? I mean, that's our goal. That's the reason why we made this investment. And performance analytics is here to show you where you're not meeting that target, right? Where you can make those improvements. It's not meant for you to pull up a bunch of data and mine it, and and do all the other stuff that BI tools are there for. There's a market for them, and when we mean no disrespect to them, but that's not what we're here for. We are real time, native to the platform, and secure. You don't have to take your data and move it out anywhere to understand where you need to make those process improvements and where you can highlight where you're inefficient. And I say that, and I will say that a million times over during this presentation, is really that's where your focus needs to be, is where can I make improvements? Where am I inefficient? Do I have teams that are spending their time and skills in areas that could be better suited doing something else? And that's where performance analytics comes in, is really highlighting where you need to take action and make those changes. And so let's talk about what that design strategy is. So our first step in designing and talking about what are the right analytics to make my business successful is to understand what your business goals are. And I'm talking at the highest level: CEO, CTO. What are your goals? What's your vision and strategy for your organization? Do you need to reduce spend in certain areas? Do you need to improve customer satisfaction? When you think about what your priorities are, you want to be thinking along those levels at the highest level. Where can I, what is our goal as a company, and how, I lost my train of thought. First, 1 second. What is our goal as a company, and how do we come up with the analytics to support that goal, right? So when we talk about it from a performance management solution, we want to think about, what are my goals and what services can I optimize to meet those goals? So we don't want to be thinking about it as, I have a PowerPoint deck here of, 50 KPIs or metrics that I'm used to looking at, and it kind of tells me a little bit of a story. We really want to just kind of throw out the way we used to think and think about those goals. So if I'm talking about reducing IT spend, and I'm talking about which services need optimization, I want to start thinking about, where can I, again, improve my automation, increase my automation? Do I have workflows that could be improved upon? Or do I have breakdowns in our processes that are going to help us not meet reducing that IT spend? Are there incidents or cases out there that have way too much hands-on, where resetting passwords, stuff like things that have just become normal automation? There's a lot of folks out there that still aren't doing stuff like that, and so these are opportunities and areas that we want to be thinking about. When I think about improving customer satisfaction, what services need to be optimized? Do I need to look at my SLAs? Do I need to look at how we are triaging incidents or cases as they come in? Is there a way to automate and improve that process so that we get increased customer satisfaction? Is there a way to leverage some of the tools within ServiceNow, like playbooks and process automation designer, that will allow us to speedily go through tickets a lot quicker and meet relief and resolution at a quicker rate? And so we want to be thinking about that sort of stuff. And when I think about that, and I'm talking about these processes and stuff, I want to understand, what does my data look like? How are my tables structured? Do I have data set up? Like if I'm talking about relief needs to be provided in order to improve customer satisfaction or meet customer satisfaction. If we're providing relief at a certain time, do I have a date stamp against time to relief? Is that something that I'm actually calculating? Is it something I'm capturing? So we want to, before we even start, coming up with the KPIs, we want to think about those processes that need to be optimized. Where can I make improvements? And what does my data look like? How is the data structured? Is it structured in a way that can be reported on? And that often gets overlooked. And I'm, just thinking about the conversations I've had with my own team, where we've sat down and said, well, these are the KPIs that we're thinking about. Before you go out there and try to build it, let's look at the data and make sure this is actually something that's reportable. And oftentimes you'll find out that it is often overlooked. complete oversight. No one does it on purpose, but it is something, a conversation that needs to go back and take place that says, okay, I want to report on this. I need these date fields captured. I need a timestamp here. Maybe I need a related field set up because we aren't capturing the data properly in order to measure it. Maybe it's a string field, and we all know how hard that is to report and break down on string fields. And so we want to think about what our data structured like, who understands the data, who has the ability to set it up so that you're successful. And then once you've done all that and you've had those conversations, then go ahead and start looking at what we provide out of the box. We do have, a whole team here at ServiceNow that works towards building out KPIs that are focused on different areas of the business: HR, ITSM, CSM, ITBM, areas out there, a lot of stuff for finance, vulnerability. We have a lot of content packs out there that kind of already have built in the thought process that we are going to walk you through in a little bit more detail now. So let's move on. I'm guessing if there's questions, y'all are going to take those, right, Adam and everyone? Okay.
Yeah. So, none have came in yet, so you're good.
Okay, great. Okay. So we're talking about responsive business goals. This is what I kind of chimed in on, started with, right? Again, these should be high level goals. These are goals that are determined by your team at the highest level, your CXOs, all these guys that are saying, this is what our corporate strategy is. And here's some more examples that I was talking about. Attain 95% self-service workflows, right? We're ServiceNow. That should be everyone's goal, I think. But, improving customer satisfaction, reducing spend. These are things that come across our desks all the time. And so by understanding what these goals are and determining these business goals up front, executives are able to make these decisions, database decisions that need to be made, because we're surfacing up KPIs that are actionable and actually contribute to these goals. So if you don't understand what the goals are up front, you don't have these conversations, you're just kind of throwing numbers at the wall. You've got a giant whiteboard in your room and you're writing just a bunch of KPIs down. You can have data overload. You can choke on a million different dashboards. But if you don't what is driving the needle for the success of your organization, you'll just be spinning your wheels. Basically, you need to understand what those goals are. Have the conversation with those executives. And then we can start thinking about what KPIs are going to help move that needle. Then when we get into our next mode, which is what I was talking about, let's talk about what services need to be optimized. Where can we make improvements? How do you highlight inefficiencies in your workflow? These are the conversations that need to take place. What KPIs would tell me whether or not I'm achieving this goal? How can I highlight where I'm inefficient? One of the things that I like to do is when I'm sitting in a room talking to folks and we're trying to come up with these KPIs is think about, what's my end result going to be? If I'm talking about customer satisfaction, it can be as simple as, do I have L1 engineers working on L2 cases? Do I have my cases categorized properly so that I have the right people working on the right things that they need to have in front of them, right? So we can have L1s who, don't really understand all the broad spectrum of everything, working on cases that are a bit more high level for them. And we can have L3 engineers who are spending their time, working on things that are simple and not as complex, and we're wasting our resources. So we have a lot of opportunities to look at where are our resources going, where are we spending time, who's doing what, are we what percentage, we think a lot of folks like to think about our backlog. What's our backlog look like? What's the number? Is it going up? Is it going down? How about we look at, of our backlog, how many cases have slipped through the cracks? How many things have you let sit there for more than 15 days, more than 30 days? Is there a process in place that goes back and checks these? Do you have targets applied to where you're headed? And if you are meeting or coming close to those targets or completely missing them, what are your strategies in place to address that and make corrections? And all these are relative to your workflow, how your processes are set up, where you have automation and where you can further automate. And so these are the conversations that you need to be having so that you can understand what KPIs need to be built. So before you just dig in and start, building indicator sources or your KPIs or even just reports, you want to think about, is this contributing to the goal that we have set forth? Is it actionable? This is one of the things that drives me insane, is to see a bunch of numbers on a dashboard that aren't actionable. The number of open incidents or open cases or whatever is informational. It's not actionable. What do you do with that? I might do something if I see the percentage of open cases that are critical, and I might do something even more if I see the percentage of open cases that are critical that have been sitting in a queue for, over 24 hours. That's actionable. I know something needs to happen. Heads need to spin, someone needs to jump in, roll up their sleeves, whatever it is that needs to take place. I know that that's something that's actionable. And I was talking about targets. We always want to think about, can targets be applied? And when I say, is it actionable? Do the intended action should be obvious based off of your KPI. It shouldn't be something that's vague. It should be very clear based off of what that KPI is, what action needs to be taken. And so if you can't answer those questions, go back to the drawing board, talk about it some more, rethink it, and don't be afraid to really get into the weeds and think about, instead of those benchmark numbers that everybody has out there, which are great and help you kind of see where you're doing organizationally against other companies in the industry. You want to be thinking about your specific processes, your specific workflows. What you've automated, what you've semi-automated, which you haven't automated. That's where you're going to get power from performance analytics, is by understanding what you've built and where you can make those improvements. And really, that's the goal behind this product. And I think it often gets confused with BI. And so I try to really push this, is understanding what the intention is, understanding where you can make those improvements, and how you can really impact the needle for your entire organization by leveraging this product. I was going to say something else about them being actionable. You want to make sure that there's accountability there, right? So that not only are they actionable, but that they're actionable to the right people within the org. And I have a slide that kind of talks about who impacts what, and kind of making sure your KPIs are for the right audience, right? Your CXO team wants to know how you're performing against your goals at the highest level. Your process owners are going to be a little bit more involved, your fulfillers more involved, and your end users, right, want to see that. So I'll talk about that a little bit more, but you definitely want to make sure that you have the right KPIs in front of the right teams, the right individuals. Otherwise, you're not really going to be very successful. And that's really what we want. And then let's talk about, again, that data foundation, your data quality. A million of us have heard for a million years now, garbage in, garbage out, what you see is what you get. And that's 100% true. So not only do you want to have good data, right? That's a given, but you also want to make sure you have people who understand how your data is structured, because that's also a critical component. I know with the introduction of Power BI and Tableau, and it kind of separated having to understand how databases were structured, what the relations were between the tables. It kind of moved a lot of folks away from that kind of frame of thought, that way of thinking, which is originally how reporting started, right? Is you need to understand how all the tables were joined, how are they related, which fields are indexed, all that stuff. And with the introduction of these, these BI tools that kind of came out there and sat on all these data warehouses, kind of took that thought process out. But really, we need to go back to that thought process, is really understanding, how did we structure our data? Do we have the right tables related to each other so that we can actually query and get the right answer? Do we understand where we have garbage, what I like to call noise, and can we filter that out? And you want to make sure you have people who understand what that is, what that noise is, because nobody's going to have 100% stringent and clean data. We all know that, but there are ways around data ways to clean that internally, just by understanding where that garbage is, where you have a little bit more noise, and how to kind of filter that out so that you really can get to the right answer. And then again, of course, obviously a plug for performance analytics is that it's all in platform. You haven't exported anything, so you don't have any security issues. And you also don't have to worry about data refreshing and all that other stuff when you're dealing with the data warehouse. It's all in here. Kind of can, just become familiar with everything and really trust what you have in there. Oh, another thing that, when I'm talking about the data foundation is, do you have the right fields in place that you want to break down on? Are they structured properly so that you can break down, like I mentioned earlier, string fields? If you've ever tried to break down on a string field, you know that that's a bit challenging. It's not something that we would encourage you to do. And so you want to think about this kind of stuff. And mind you, all these things that I'm bringing up are all conversations and whiteboarding sessions that have taken place before you've started doing anything. So you're not in there, stressing out about, oh no, I don't know, I got, this far down this indicator, and then indicator source, and I realized I can't even break down on that field. I need a lookup table, that sort of thing. And so we really strongly encourage you to think about these things and have these conversations prior to even rolling up your sleeves. Okay, talking a lot. Let's take a deep breath here. And then the last thing, again, which I started, talking about a little bit earlier, is you've done this, you've had these conversations, you're pretty confident with the structure you have in place. I do have a tool I'll show you a little bit later that kind of helps you do this together, like an in-platform whiteboarder, which I'll get into. But then you want to go in and look at, is there something that ServiceNow's already started that I can reverse engineer, I can tweak, I can make a little changes to here and there and get close to where I need to be. Review it, make adjustments where needed, all that stuff. And so that's kind of our footprint for how to be successful with performance analytics. Is before you get in there and get all frustrated, have these conversations and look and see what we've already provided for you, because we do have a pretty great team in place that thinks about this stuff. So when I talk about make sure you have analytics that are actionable and they're in front of the right people, this is what I'm talking about. We want to build, we want to build the right analytics for everybody. So we think about at the highest level, our executive wants to know, how are we tracking against organizational objectives? So we're not going to show our executives, numbers that are fulfillers, that what's sitting in our fulfillers queues. No, they want to know, are we reducing OPEX by 20% and maintaining, our net promoter score? And how are we going to measure that? What KPIs are we going to show our executive? What percentage are we at? What's our target threshold? Are we close to target? Are we not close to target? What's our net promoter score, and what's it been over the last, 30 to 60 days? We want to show our executives how we're doing against those goals, not the details, not the, what the fulfillers are looking at. We want to be thinking about what their primary focus is and build analytics that tie to that goal, that tell them exactly how you're performing against that goal. We also, though, have service owners. They need to be able to impact the trends, right, that are going to move the needle on whether or not we're reducing spend, whether or not we're improving our customer satisfaction or net promoter score. So their analytics are going to be exactly related to whether or not we're reducing spend, whether or not we're maintaining NPS, but theirs are going to be a little bit different. What processes do I need to automate to reduce cost, right? Or make things more self-serviceable for our customers? Where can I put more thing, can I enable virtual agent and build some conversations that make sense and will help our customers get to where they need to get much quicker than having to open a case or incident. So these are things that our service owners are going to be thinking about. what areas can I, where can I make, these are the things we were talking about earlier about highlighting inefficiencies, that sort of thing. We don't want to show that to our executives, but this is what service owners need to be looking at. Do I have the right people doing the right amount of work? Do I have areas for further automation? I know one of the cool things that ServiceNow did when we were all in the office and, now going back to the office is we put in vending machines to get your power chargers or headset or, simple things that most folks in the organization need, but would had to have opened a case before based off of your role and responsibility. You swipe your badge at this vending machine and it drops down whatever you are qualified, or I don't know the right word, I can't think of it right now, whatever you're entitled, I guess, to have access to. You can just order it from a vending machine. You don't have to open a case. You don't have to deal with anybody. It's 100% automation. It was genius. And it actually moves the needle towards not only improving the net promoter score for ServiceNow, but it also improves our automation, right? It was, to me, one of those things that nobody would ever think about as, you're thinking about processes and workflows, but that's a process and workflow that went to 100% automation because everything was happening within the platform. So it's pretty cool. But these are the things that the service owner is going to be focused on and not the executive, all still tying to the same, like I said, same high level goals. Same thing with our frontline workers. They're not going to be looking at how are we tracking against our OPEX? How is my net? Well, they might be looking at their net promoter score just because it's interesting, but their focus needs to be on what's in front of them. Where am I meeting my SLAs? Am I achieving my targets? What can I do to do that? Am I escalating too much? Am I spending too much time on things that I don't understand or know? Is there an opportunity for training? Is there an opportunity for coaching? Like, these are all the things that frontline workers need to be focused on, is what's in front of them, what's in their queue, how can they get through that quicker and easier, while impacting, by doing that, they're, helping to reduce costs. If they're working on the right cases for their skill level, that impacts spend. If they're not meeting their SLAs, that impacts spend. That's all money and net promoter score, customer sat. So stuff to think about. Oops, I went backwards. And then, like, this is like, what cases should I work on first? Like, these are the KPIs that should be in front of the frontline worker. They shouldn't even have to guess. They should open up their workspace and know exactly what they need to focus on. And it should be based off of what the high level goals are and how your dashboard has been designed to make them successful. So each individual within your organization, each team should have specific dashboards using performance analytics that help them be successful, geared towards them, all impacting the same responsive business goals. And then, of course, our end users, right? They should be able to check the statuses and the quality of their services, right? This is ultimately our goal, is to make life easier for them, get them what they need quickly. So, all right, building the right team. So this is an often a conversation that can get awkward. I'm just going to pull it all out there and we'll just talk about it. The right team are people who can determine what the goals are, right? So you do need to have that executive in the room, that executive representation that says, these are the goals. So if you have, 50 other KPIs or metrics out there that have nothing to do with moving that needle, toss them. And you need to make sure you have people in the room that are capable and comfortable of doing that. And they know your business. They know what processes need to be improved. They understand how you run your business. Every organization is different. Everybody does things differently. And so you need to have people in the room who understand what your processes are, how you guys do your business. That's critical. And this is a team of a mixed bag, right? Of different skills. And it shouldn't just be BI folks or IT people who, build reports on your behalf. All these people need to be in the room. You need to have people in the room who are capable of asking those tough questions. when you put a KPI on the board for consideration for a dashboard, especially using performance analytics, what problem are you going to solve? What's the use case and what action is going to be taken? If you can't answer those questions, then it's a good way to push. This is your opportunity to push back so that you don't have data overload. You're not choking on dashboards with 50 tabs and 8 million different data points, and really you can get all of that clean and concise by having these people in the room being able to say, what are we trying to solve here? Why? What am I going to do with that? It's not comfortable all the time, and some folks might not enjoy that part of the conversation, but it really needs to take place because you invested in ServiceNow. So let's do the best that we can to show you how to use it best and not create things that are just another roadblock for you. Also making sure people understand what processes are currently in place, what the purposes of those processes are, how they're being used, and understand, because there's a lot of times, in some situations, you can't do 100% automation. It's just not feasible. We understand that. A lot of folks are in that same boat. So, but you need to understand why. What was the roadblock? What did you run into? Is there, a federal regulation that doesn't allow, automation up to this point? There's a million different reasons why something could come up in your path. And you need to be able to understand that. So you need to have those people in that room, part of this conversation. And it's important that you have people that understand how to use the tool. Performance analytics is an in-platform solution, which means you need to understand the platform. And like I said before, you need to understand how your data is structured, how those tables are related, what fields you have in place. If you're able to break down the way you need to break down to have the answers. And so if you don't know any of that, how the data is structured or how to use performance analytics, right? It's important that you have someone trained or you have resources that you've outsourced to come in and help you, because this is a powerful tool that can be confusing and trip you up if you aren't using it the way it's intended to be used. And you need to make sure you have folks on your team. And my favorite line is this bottom one, who feel empowered and comfortable pushing back, because sometimes no is the answer. And so I've had conversations with, some of the teams that I've coached where they're like, oh, no, I can't go back and say no. You need to empower your teams to feel comfortable to do that. It doesn't need to be awkward or uncomfortable. It's simple. What problem are we solving? Is there a use case? If you can't answer all these questions, then it's obvious the answer is no, and there doesn't need to be anything awkward or uncomfortable. But no is the answer sometimes, because you don't want, like I said, if you can't know exactly what you need to do right away, then there's no point in doing this. It's Anyways, all right. So we do have, and this is just, I'm just going to gloss over this really quick, but we do have roles in the system, right? And as we move towards the next experience, these will evolve. I know we've talked about that in the past, but we do have roles that are set up in our system that kind of make it easier for different folks within the organization to have access to different parts of the data. I'm going to stop here with this analytics developer role, because this is the critical one when we talk about understanding how the data is structured, understanding the tool, making sure that you have enough people who understand and know how to use this and understand how its intended usage is, so that you are successful. I mean, it's a critical component. And then you also have your admins, right? Your sysadmins who develop the actual platform, but people who understand performance analytics and how to develop that are usually different. They're a hybrid of a developer and an analytics person. They're people who understand how data is structured to report on, because you can build a database with ServiceNow workflows and everything, and it can be awesome and great and have no idea how reporting is done and not be able to report on it. So you do have different folks with different skill sets that need to be available. And then these are the system roles that we would recommend that you assign to these different roles to best leverage performance analytics. And then simple housekeeping things, right? Remove duplicate entries, apply naming conventions, consolidate where you can. And this is an ongoing process. We do have, I think there's some articles out there within the community that recommend using performance analytics to actually measure how successful performance analytics is, using reporting to see what breakdowns do I have out there. You can write a report to show you what breakdowns you have and where you have overlap, so that you can look at areas for consolidation. When I was on the operations side of the house here at ServiceNow, we did audits. So it was a quarterly audit that ran, I don't know, I think like 7 or 8 reports that just kind of told me, how are my naming conventions? Do I have duplicates? Where can I remove duplicates? Where can I clean up overlap and consolidate? Do I have opportunities? And you want to do this consistently, because it's hard once you start doing data collections with performance analytics to go back and change history. It won't be hard coming in Utah, though, because we have a whole new database for you, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. But it is a little bit of a challenge. So it is important that you have, you keep your house clean. You stay on top of this. You don't just set it and forget it. You're constantly going through and making sure that the folks that you've empowered to make your performance analytics environment successful, it's staying clean and moving on. Okay. And then organizing your content. This is just talking about properly designed dashboards, right? We talked about informational stuff. A lot of times you'll see dashboards with, it drives me absolutely insane when there's like 10 or more tabs. I'm good with maybe 3, 4 sometimes. It depends on, the story that you're trying to tell with your dashboard, but all relative information should start at the top. What's my goal? Improving NPS, reducing spend, both should be on the top. The very first things that you see, whatever analytics or KPIs that you have that are going to help move that needle and are actionable, should be the first things you see when you load your dashboard. If you have informational data like my number of open backlog, that's completely informational. It's not actionable at all. But people like to know, like, how is my backlog trending? What's my growth over time? It is good information to have, just so that you kind of don't lose sight of how you're trending. But that's informational. That could be on another tab. It could be towards the bottom of the page, that kind of stuff. More important to look at what's critical, could be a possible fire drill. Am I going to miss my target? Like, all this kind of stuff is really what's important. And then push the interesting but not critical stuff towards another tab, bottom of the fold, that kind of thing. And again, actionable. And then I am going to talk to you for a minute about KPI Composer. This is a store app that is available to everybody, and it's free. And it basically does exactly what we just talked about. It allows you to determine what your high level goals are. So you see, it looks like a little chart, a little diagram, and everything sprouts off of it, because it tells you, okay, based off of my high level goals, what processes do I need to optimize? What areas can I focus on? And then based off of that, I can kind of pop through this and build my KPIs. It's like a whiteboard within the platform, which is pretty cool. It also allows you, if you've already dabbled, like, we recommend you do all this before you dabble with performance analytics. But if you already have and you're thinking about redoing it, you can also go in and associate the KPIs that you come up with an indicator that you may already have in the platform, and make some notes. I need to tweak this. I need to change the source on this. Oh, I want to create a new breakdown, like all this cool stuff. So it's kind of like this really great whiteboarding tool that we've made available to you in platform. And I say we've done it actually through a partner. So I can't take ServiceNow can't take credit for this, but we work consistently with this partner to make sure that this stays up to date. And we're currently in the process of making updates and enhancements to it with our partner. But this is a really great tool, and it kind of goes through everything that I just talked about. And one of the ideas I had, and I was thinking if there was interest, I don't know how much interest there would be, but we could actually do this together, kind of like a consulting experience together and just be like, okay, everyone throw me some high level business goals and I can kind of walk you through. And I thought that might be kind of fun, but you guys can say at the end if you would be interested in that or not. I just thought that might be kind of fun. And of course, the benefits are, right, you're documenting your business requirements within the platform, which is always cool. You're able to align your KPIs to your actual goals and strategies. So it's that whiteboard. You can erase, delete, assign. That's what's fun too, right? Is you can determine what areas of the organization is this important. It kind of like just puts all that stuff I was talking about right at your fingertips. And you can reuse available performance analytics content that's out there associated to it. See, also, this will help you understand where you have KPIs that go across the board, right? Some KPIs do float within all of those roles we were talking about. However, they're different focus on each KPI, on the specific KPIs. And when we talk about understanding how the data is structured, you can, by playing with KPI Composer, actually figure out crap, I need this crope. Did I just say crope? Anyways, crap, I need this field. I need a new related objects field, or I need a related list field, or I need a lookup table. I need something to help me report on this because what we have out of the box or what we've customized isn't going to work for this. And so you can actually create that list within the platform and start creating I don't know how you guys do it, but if you create some Scrum tasks for your team to make some changes, that is a possibility. All right. So just quick in review. I know I talk kind of fast and I'm a little bit congested. So I was talking even faster. So I didn't start coughing. By setting clear, concise goals, responsive business goals, we gain actual actionable insight. And that's the power of performance analytics, is understanding what action I need to take, when, quickly, and where can I improve those workflows. I mean, this is your investment. Like I said, you invested in ServiceNow. That's a big step in automation. And so you want to highlight where you can continue to make those improvements. Understanding the data, investing time in understanding the data before you build your analytics, and making sure that you have these conversations. You will have powerful dashboards that tell the proper story, gain the correct insight for your executives, and provide action at the process owner and fulfiller stages so that you can achieve those goals and continue to improve on your workflows. So, right, everything is iterative and ongoing and evolutionary. And so as you achieve those targets and goals, you can also make tweaks and changes within performance analytics in the platform on the fly and start creating new goals. So I'm at 50% automation. Then we created a new workflow that gets me to 75% automation. So let's start measuring that. And then is there an opportunity to get to 80%? Like there's a million different things that you can slice or dice here. And that will actually show you the value of performance analytics. So get away from the mindset that this is a BI tool. Scrap all that, scrap all the PowerPoints and stuff, Excel spreadsheets you have out there, and start thinking about your investment in ServiceNow, what you need to improve on, and start making some changes, because this is the best thing that you could do for your organization, is understanding the proper usage of performance analytics and really letting it work for you. Here's some resources that are available. Obviously, there's office hours. We have out-of-the-box solutions that do provide guided setup on some stuff for you to kind of walk you through how to set it up and implement it. We have offer readiness, maturity review, outcomes, and progress reviews. There are technical Q&A out there within the community in our developer instance. And then there are also health checks that can be performed. Now, I'm not 100% sure. I know that they're in instance now. And you can run it against performance analytics. I don't know who has access to do that though. So if anyone else knows, you can interrupt me. But I know that there's ways to check and see how healthy you are as far as your performance analytics maturity. Go ahead, Adam.
Health Scan will do that today with our customer outcomes team. And then Instant Scan has the ability to do it, but it doesn't have all the performance analytics definitions at this point.
Oh,
That's
okay.
something we're working on to let admins do it themselves. But
Okay.
today, to get that full analysis, you need to work with customer outcomes.
Awesome. Okay. And then always, if this is a struggle or resources are limited, we do have a services team at ServiceNow, and we have a huge partner community that is available for you to help you with this, because we want you to leverage it the way it was intended to be used and get the best out of it. And so struggling with it isn't going to get you anywhere. So reach out and get help if you need it. And that is it. How did I do on time? I don't even know what time it is.
You did awesome. You did awesome. So, incredible content. And, I just quickly wanted to add, I am a former customer, and I think that there was one slide. They were all incredible, but the one that really stands out to me the most, and I don't remember which one it was, but it was the one that said, have people in the room that are able to say no, right? And I think that just being a former customer and actually looking at the attendees, there is an attendee that was a coworker of mine at this former business that I worked at, and I know that she and I had a lot of conversations around that, and making sure that you're part of the process early. We don't know who we have here on attendees and where you're at. There could be people that are just at the beginning or even seasoned, customers that we have here. So I think it's important to have the power to decide, what exactly that you're going to do, and have those discussions around it, and make sure that you're part of the process as early as possible, to make sure that you understand the platform, like Tara said, understand the data that you're working with, and getting in that room and being able to make decisions. And then also, when you actually get going with it, if you're someone that starts creating things for other businesses within your whole organization as a whole, getting them to start asking the same sort of questions. Because quite often what happened with me was people would come, just like Tara said, with an Excel document or with some other, let's just say, Crystal reports, as old as that is. They would come with all these things that they always had, and the idea was, well, I need to make sure that I have these same things. And the question that I started asking was, well, what'd you get out of them? What answers were you able to, or what questions were you able to answer? Why do you need it? Or you just continue to do it because that's what you've always had? What can you deliver from it? What can you change from it? What things can be, changed from what you're actually looking at? So I think, which goes to exactly what Tara said. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking, but being a former customer, there's so much value in this, and hopefully you take a lot of this to heart and try to at least incorporate some of that into it. And you don't have to be brand new. If you're someone that just creates stuff, like I said, for other parts of your organization, ask these same sort of questions every time that something new has to be created, if that makes sense. And I'm sure that Adam and Dan may have something that they want to add to it, because this is such a valuable topic that we really try to make sure that people think about it as they start doing it, and also as they continue with it. So I'm not going to put them two on the spot, but if either one of them have anything that they want to add, please do.
Well, I will add on to that. With the just say no, I think that is an incredibly powerful slide. But generally, how we've designed and built out performance analytics and platform analytics in general is to help you do the right things. And this is where we see some organizations struggle, where they've been doing suboptimal processes for a very long time, in terms of, we just report a number, we have it in Excel, we email it out. There's a lot of things that we don't spend a lot of time focusing in how to make certain processes better, because they're not healthy things for an organization. So what Tara showed us was, how do we set up things to be done well, at like KPI composer, starting from the beginning to go, why are we doing this? Is it helping move us forward to our goals? What are our goals? We spend a lot of time making sure that that's easy to do, give you the applications, the tools, what you need to do that. And I think we'll all come back and say, use them. When you use the tools, when you do what performance analytics is trying to help you do, you're going to have you're going to get a lot more value from these analytics than just an Excel file that gets emailed out every Monday morning that nobody looks at, nobody takes actions from. It's challenging sometimes to roll some of these out. I appreciate that everybody who's here, you want to do this. I think organizations want to do this, and hopefully this presentation will help give you some ammo to help drive your organization forward, right? We don't want to do it the same way we were doing it 50 years ago or 20 years ago. We want to do it better and improve.
Completely agree, Adam. Yeah, definitely. Dan, you had something?
And yeah, I'll just follow up and just triggered just by the question Brian just threw out here. Brian Good just threw out there. So sometimes and it's more of his statement, which is sometimes the answer to what problem are you solving is just situational awareness. So that in itself can be a worthwhile motivator for PA at times, right? And says, oh yeah, absolutely. That's but it is important that we get to that question of the what problem are you solving, because it's and we're all kind of saying the same thing, just different ways, but it really is that fundamental question of is there a reason why you want to collect this piece of information, this KPI? What is the reason that you want to collect this, and how does it make and how is it doing something to drive and make our business better? But I like that situational awareness is a big part of this too. So
absolutely, great point.
As Dan said, I'm going to piggyback on that too. I will say my goal for performance analytics, my goal for analytics, for reporting and all this stuff, is that you never have to look at a report again. Why are we looking at reports? At ServiceNow, the reason we use ServiceNow is to automate a workflow, to digitize it, to have it do it. So I think it's really important, the more you understand as an organization, why are we going to look at this? We're going to look at this because we're looking for this. All right, is more better or is less better, right? We get into setting targets. And then we're able to start moving down the path of automation to go, well, I look at this and I look at this report and I'm looking for this. Okay, good. So we can find that. What do you do about it? Well, then I take this action. Okay, let's just automate that. If I find this in this data, automatically do this. Notify this person to do something. Create a task for this person. That's where we want to get to. Platform analytics is a tool to help you get that, right? As our organizations change, as the environment changes, there's always new things to build into. But our goal is automation, not to look at pretty reports, right? And if you've seen the other sessions on Next Experience in San Diego and Tokyo, we get pretty reports. I'm very happy about that, but that's not my goal. My goal is so that we're getting the work done. And that's where going through this process, asking those questions more than the analytics team, right? For the process owner, make sure the process owner knows what's going on, the platform owner, so that we can get to the ultimate goal of automation and spending our time on more challenging work, not just on doing the same thing over and over again.
Awesome. Thank you, Adam. The only question that we have currently is which community forum will this be posted in? So in the analytics and reporting community, there is a platform analytics page that this will actually, or article or blog that this will actually be posted in. I was trying to get that URL, but I'll get it and I'll post it in, but that's where it will be. And the deck will actually be saved there as PDF, so you'll actually be able to use it whenever you do have conversations within your business. You can use it to refer back to. And I don't see any other questions. So we may be able to give 5 minutes back here.
Cool.
I'll go ahead and close out, and if something pops in, we'll go from there. Tara, thank you. Awesome as usual. Great content, incredible content that is always valuable. No matter where you are in your process with performance analytics, this is always good to refer back to. So thank you for your time and doing that for us today, Tara.
Okay, no problem. Thanks, everyone.
Yep. All right. So here is the actual answer to that question. So all of this recording will actually be posted here, like I said, later on this afternoon. And when you actually click into it, and the video is actually from a link from our YouTube channel. So you'll actually be able to see all of that as well. And then of course there are previous recordings or whatnot that we have there, and anything that we have coming in the future. There's that actual page right there. So the links are there everywhere within this. Make sure that you continue to utilize Now Learning. There's always new content that's coming out there, and a lot more are becoming on demand as well. But here we just showed an example of typing in analytics, everything that will come back. And like I said, there are new ones that are on demand. So the PA Advanced course is now on demand rather than being instructor led. So take advantage of that as much as you can. We always like to shout out the other academies that are out there. So just be aware of those. We have Platform Academy, Virtual Agent, Process Optimization, which is a new one, which is a really great one that's out there, was needed, and a really great presentation or host that's over there, Dan Grady. So that's awesome. And then we have mobile app as well. So just take note of these. If there is, they are ran almost exactly the way that we run ours here. There are a little bit of variances in the way that things happen, but getting to know the content that are covered by these really will make you even more powerful, I think, as it relates to PA. So knowing these things can definitely help you as well.
There's one more also. The Next Experience Academy just launched recently, a couple of weeks ago, and that one's going to be important for a lot of us to take a look at as we learn how to embrace the new world of Next Experience and how our visualizations are shown in there. Analytics, the core is the same, but how we show them and what we can do is just the world is new, and a lot of amazing stuff in the Next Experience Academy.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Adam. I'll get that added so we'll know that it'll be there going forward. So appreciate you bringing that up. So with that, I don't think that there are any more questions that have come in. So thank you again for your time, and hopefully you all got something out of this, and we'll see you all in 2 weeks. Thank you again, Tara.